Hello friends, 599 days of war. On Israel-Palestine war front, the ground offensive by the Israeli Defense Forces is delayed by few days due poor weather as they claim. In the meantime, the ultimatum given by the Israeli government for the civilians to leave Gaza has expired, and even the extended one too is expired. Ground offensive may start sooner. In the meantime, heavy shelling is continuing, especially from the Israeli side. In North Gaza, 20 were killed, 80 injured. So far as Palestine is concerned, more than 2,200 have been killed and 8,007 wounded by the Israelis' strikes. Israeli forces also raided on East Jerusalem during prayer period. Several journalists too are wounded in Israeli attacks. From Israeli side, more than 1,300 are killed, 3,300 wounded, and this casualty includes more than 280 troops. Huge protests are going on within Israel itself, who are demanding resignation of Netanyahu. Thousands and thousands of people demonstrated in support of Palestine in London, US, Arab countries and rest of the world. It was a surprise that in New Delhi, India, few protested or rather marched who were religious militants in support of Israel. From Ukrainian war zone in Kherson, more increasing activities of Ukrainian formations are seen along Dnieper River. Ukrainian units are arriving and occupying private houses. Despite heavy Russian artillery, many have reached outskirts of Kherson from Nikolaev side, and also Ukrainians are shelling towards Novaya Kakhovka and other parts of Kherson to allow their troops to cross Dnieper River. On Zaporizhia front and western side, the Russian army conducted unexpected counterattacks on Kopani, Rabotino, Novoprokhopovka, Verbove line with some territorial gains. Fierce fight is on. ISW claims that Ukrainians carried out offensive operation in western Zaporizhia and made limited gains yesterday. In fact, Ukrainians made definite gains towards Kopani, northwest, planting as well as in western side. They are also continuously attacking towards Novodanivka as well as Novoandriivka. In north, Russian army occupied northeastern side, the outskirts of Synkivka, and Ukrainians withdrew from this village. Synkivka now it seems is grey zone. ISW says that Russian offensive operations continue on Kupyansk Front criminal line, and it made some marginal gains southwest of Swatovo and east of Makiivka. Ukrainian Ground Forces Commander Colonel General Alexander Syrsky said that Russian army has intensified offensive operation in Kupyansk Liman direction, but Ukrainian forces were prepared and defending their lands. In east on Avdiivka front, the Russian army made some gains along E50 highway yesterday. As per ISW, in last few days, Russian army had made marginal gains towards Pervomaisky as well. In southwest of Krasnohorivka, that is northwest of Avdiivka, Russian army made gains. Fight is on for the west heap in north Avdiivka. Overall, the situation is not all that favorable for the Ukrainians. Nonetheless, the Russian advance too has slowed down. However, there seems that Ukrainian main supply line from the west of Avdiivka is constrained due Russian artillery reach. On Marinka front, Ukrainians made some gains in north of Marinka, while in southern part towards Makiivka, which is 15 to 18 kilometers south of Marinka, Russians advanced. On Bakhmut, Russians made more gains towards northwest. Orikhovo Livka, 10 km northwest of Bakhmut. ISS says that no gains for Ukrainians despite continued assaults. And it also accepts that the intensity of fight has further gone down on Klishivka, Avdiivka and Kupyansk line. On interdiction missions, more than 2 days when Ukrainians did minimum shelling into Donetsk city, Russians conducted airstrikes yesterday against Kherson Oblast and Snake Island as well, in addition to what they have been doing. Ukrainians' 2 drones were detected in eastern coast of Black Sea near Sochi and were shot down by Russian air defense. To highlight the situation, I will quote Ukrainian Spectator columnist Svetlana. She says that Russian military launched offensive along entire front line yesterday. There were about 100 military clashes, one of the most decisive in Avdiivka. And Russian ambassador to UN, Vasily, says that 4 months counter-offensive by Ukrainian forces has not achieved any of its objectives. And now for several days, Russian troops have switched to combat operations practically along the entire front line. Ukrainian counter-offensive is formally over. India ranks 111 out of 125 countries in Global Hunger Index 2023. It has gone down further by 4 compared to the previous year's index. Indian GDP is rising. That means the rich are waging war against the poor, plundering them of their wealth or whatever they have. And this is a global phenomenon. Thank you, friends. That's all for the day.